Viewers, India is still in mourning for the 270 people who lost their lives in the Ahmedabad airport tragedy on 12th of June. In his first briefing following the Air India crash, after he visited the crash site, India's Civil Aviation Minister announced that a high-level panel headed by the Home Secretary is going to be investigating the incident. Already there is a probe that's underway that's being conducted by AAIB as per protocol. Parallelly, there is another probe that is happening by a high-level committee. Now, this panel has been given a 3-month time frame to conduct its investigation. It is going to include experts from various sectors and will examine all possible theories and information related to the plane. But the focus right now is on Boeing 787 Dreamliner, which many say is uncrashable. And the way it crashed, the way 241 people inside this particular plane, out of 242 people were killed, it has sent shockwaves not just to people in India, but among people across the world. We are today joined by Captain Rakesh Rai, who flew Boeing 787 aircraft for the Tata-owned airline as recently as last year. He's joining us today to help us understand what could have possibly happened on 12th of June. He's going to be sharing with us first-hand insights on Dreamliner's characteristics, his experience of flying the aircraft model, and his views on what may have led the Dreamliner to crash in Ahmedabad in this manner. Captain Rai, thank you very much for taking out time, for speaking with us here on Times Now. Firstly, I want to ask you, you also had flown with Captain Sumit Sabarwal. What are your thoughts today? Could you tell us a little bit about experience with him, flying with him?
Namaskar and Jai Hind. I have flown with Captain Sumit Sabarwal, and I have also known him for a very long time. Was a very decent person, very down to earth, very humble, looking after his 90-year-old father, and a very friendly and a thorough professional. So I have only good things to say about him. And it's a great tragedy for all of us to have lost such a nice human being in this tragic crash.
Captain Rai, I want to understand from you. You must have seen the visuals that we all have seen. That visual, that dramatic visual of takeoff and then the tragic crash. What are some of your observations as somebody who has flown this particular plane?
See, looking at the takeoff and looking at the profile of the aeroplane, it's extremely difficult for anyone who is not in that aeroplane, not in the cockpit, to speculate what must have gone wrong. It would be wrong on my part to apportion any kind of blame or to find faults with anything. Only way we can get to know about the issue is through the decoding of the digital flight data recorder. The aeroplane had a very normal takeoff, and what has happened after that can only be a speculation. So we are not getting into the speculation part. It's only the digital flight data recorder which has been fortunately recovered. As soon as it gets decoded, we'll get to know the real truth. Otherwise, a Dreamliner is a beautiful aeroplane to fly, technologically one of the most advanced aeroplane in the world. And it was a pleasure to fly the aeroplane.
But, several questions today are being raised, sir. And it seems that, the engine lost power. And that is one of the points that's being made by experts as well. What is your point of view? What is your assessment? Because some are even saying that perhaps both the engines failed, something which is a rare thing to happen.
Yes, failure of both engines on a takeoff leg is a very, very rare thing to happen, maybe 1 in 100 million. If it has happened, then this was one of that 1 in 100 million. And if both engines have failed, looking at the situation, the altitude reached by the pilots, by the aircraft, there is no way the pilot could have done anything. there was no way to recover the aeroplane from that altitude with both engines failed. One must understand that from the time the aircraft started rolling for takeoff to the point of impact was just 59 seconds. The takeoff roll itself would have taken about 20 to 30 seconds. Add to that 4 to 5 seconds of pilot reaction time and maybe about 10 seconds of the initial memory actions in case of any emergency. You would realize that the pilot had just about 10 seconds to react. And if there is no power in both the engines, how can the aeroplane fly? There is no way the aeroplane can fly.
You understand this?
So the aeroplane had to go down. Nothing could be done at that stage. There's no time to relight the engine because the height is too low. And the area ahead of the, the airport is not a flat field where he could have landed.
You know, you understand this aircraft much better than, all of us here. So I want to understand from you as a pilot, what possibly could have happened? We don't want to speculate. I'm just saying because you know how things function, you'll be able to explain it to us in a better way. As a pilot, what could have led to the pilot giving a mayday call within seconds of the takeoff?
See, it was a flight from Ahmedabad to London Gatwick. The aeroplane must have been really heavy for the takeoff. Considering the high temperatures at the airfield, maybe slightly low atmospheric pressure, the margin for error was very less. So even if one engine fails, the situation is tricky, and if both engines fail, situation is hopeless. So the fact that aeroplane could gain an altitude of just about 625 feet, and that is not above that's not the actual altitude. If you take into consideration the elevation of Ahmedabad airfield, it amounts to just about 400 feet, which is nothing. So the reaction time for pilots was so less. He must have done the best he could have done. I mean, it's just unfortunate that this kind of incident has taken place. And it's very difficult to say, like I said earlier, that looking at the video, one can speculate what has gone wrong.
Absolutely. And we'll, of course, want to wait for the investigation results to really come out. And, we just want to talk about, we want to understand from you about your experience and, what could have really happened. Because today, the Civil Aviation Minister in the press conference said that this particular aircraft that crashed, it completed Paris-Delhi-Ahmedabad leg without any kind of issues. And then it was supposed to fly from Ahmedabad to London Gatwick Airport. So can it be an engineering issue? Because when it comes to a Dreamliner, Captain Rai, it is considered to be the safest product by Boeing when it comes to a passenger jet. And many also call it uncrashable. And this is the first crash of a Dreamliner.
I would equate it with this kind of a statement. I would equate it with maybe traveling in a car or a bus from Delhi to Jaipur, Jaipur to Jodhpur, Jodhpur to Ambala, and Ambala back to Delhi, and nothing has happened. And then from Delhi to Lucknow, something happens, the accident takes place. One cannot say that all those other sectors, nothing happened, and all of a sudden, crash has taken place. It's a machine. And anything can go wrong with machine at any time. To predict that this will not happen because in the last 5 sectors nothing happened is too far-fetched. So things can go wrong with the machine at any given time. Even the most sophisticated of machine, but what is important to realize is that this machine has been flying for 15 years. This is the first accident on this machine, first fatal accident. So 15 years the aeroplane was flying fine. Engineering issues were not existing then. It has come up all of a sudden in this case. No, we cannot say that. We can only come to a conclusion when the DFDR is decoded and we get to know what exactly went wrong. It would be wrong to put apportion blame on the engineering side or on the piloting side or, on all such issues. So we have to wait. Let's wait what the digital flight data recorder and the cockpit voice recorder say about the incident. Only then we'll get to know what exactly has happened.
Now, there are also concerns around birds, around that particular airport. Do you think a bird hit, is also a possibility can that lead to a situation like what we saw? Does it look like when you look at the videos?
See, bird hits have taken place. You must have heard about the landing in the Hudson River. Captain Sally, he had multiple bird hits in both the engines, and the engines flamed out, both the engines, and he didn't have any place to go, and he landed in the river. So the possibility of bird hit also cannot be ruled out. We have to see why the engine failed. We have to get to know the reason why the engine failed. Was it a bird hit? Was it any technical issue? Or was there an engine failure actually? So we cannot really say that the engine failed because bird hit. The engine failed or not. One engine failed, two engines failed. These are all speculations. Now, looking at the video, you see the aeroplane itself is so hazy. If you look at the video, how can you spot a bird? In that kind of video, it's impossible to spot a bird. The bird has to be maybe 1/4 the size of the aeroplane to, actually see the bird in the sky. So it's difficult to make out from this video whether there were birds around or not. Yes, bird strike is an hazard. There is no doubt about that. There have been umpteen number of bird hit cases. But in this scenario, whether there was a bird hit or not, very difficult to say from the video.
Something strange that you witnessed, that you observed when you looked at this video of takeoff and then the crash?
The takeoff appeared to be very normal takeoff. Whatever has happened after the airplane has got airborne. Now, there are a lot of people talking about why the undercarriage was not raised and all that. That again, we cannot really say because I'm not sitting in that cockpit to know why the undercarriage was not raised. There are a lot of issues, a lot of people talking about the selection of the flaps. Again, this video really cannot, looking at the video, we really cannot make out whether the flap selection was correct or not. So people have come out with a lot of theories. They are all speculations. We really cannot go by them. Like I said earlier, we have to wait for the digital flight data recorder decoding. Till then, we need to have patience. And at the same time, I would like to tell the traveling passengers, air travel is the safest mode of transportation. As per one of the American studies, a passenger, if he or she has to meet a fatal accident, that passenger will have to fly for 103,000 years non-stop. That is the probability in air travel. So people don't need to worry. They can fly safely. These kind of accidents don't happen every day. And Air India has had a fatal accident of this kind after 40 years. So that's a long time. That's nearly half a century. So no need to worry about the aircraft and the reliability of the aircraft. It's a very reliable aeroplane, very good aeroplane to fly, and very safe.
Of course, this kind of assurance.
I saw a video of a gentleman who said that he flew on the Delhi-Ahmedabad sector and the music system was not working, AC was not working, entertainment system was not working. I would like to ask a question. Have you heard of a car accident happening because the music system in the car was not working? That has got nothing to do with the airworthiness of the aeroplane. That's a totally different aspect. Music system not working, entertainment system not working. What has that got to do with the flying of the aeroplane? So these kind of videos are very misleading. People should abstain from posting these kind of videos because the passengers will get an impression that if the music system is not working, there is something seriously wrong with the aeroplane. Are you getting my point?
Right. So you mentioned that takeoff appears to be normal. Then where do you think, after looking at the video, things went wrong?
See, as far as I am concerned when I look at the video when the aeroplane has started going down. Only then I can make out that yes, there is something wrong. The aeroplane is going down. And the pilot has given a mayday call. And I believe the pilot has also said that mayday call, no thrust. So that means there is some problem which he has noticed, and that's the reason why he has given the call. So looking at the video, the only indication that there is something wrong is when the aeroplane starts, instead of going up, it starts going down. Why it is going down, again, I would like to reiterate, is only speculation.
Absolutely. And Captain Rai, yesterday a US-based pilot, Captain Steve, shared his inferences regarding the cause of the accident. According to him, one of the pilots may have mistakenly raised the flaps instead of the landing gear. What are your thoughts on this assessment?
Again, looking at the video, I don't know how Captain Steve has come to this conclusion. Looking at the video, nobody can make out whether the flaps were selected correctly or not. It is only the aircraft investigation team which will determine whether the flaps were selected correctly or not. The video is not indicative of this aspect. We cannot make out from the video whether the flaps were selected in the proper selection of flap was made or not, or the flaps were retracted. It's a very grainy video, very hazy video. I don't know why he has made this kind of comment. I cannot make out. I've taken still shots of the video. I have zoomed it. Even then, nobody can make out.
Captain Rai, now as someone with extensive flying experience when it comes to a Dreamliner, what are your views on Boeing and its safety mechanisms?
I can talk about this aeroplane and the other aeroplanes which I have flown. This aeroplane is, like I told you, technologically one of the most advanced aeroplanes in the world. Even after 42 years of flying, sitting in this aeroplane, things used to happen like magic. It's like a space-age technology. Very good aeroplane. I used to love flying this aeroplane. In fact, all pilots who fly this aeroplane, they love it. So as far as reliability of this aeroplane is concerned, I have no doubts about that. Okay.
And Captain Rai, one last question before I let you go. What do you make of the whistleblower allegations against Boeing? And, the allegation that perhaps company resorted to shortcuts. A lot of them are being talked about today.
There are a lot of people who talk about a lot of things. The actual story is not known to anybody. If what is claimed in that video, if that is true, then in 15 years, so many aeroplanes should have fallen down from the sky. So I don't know the reason behind that gentleman's, whistleblowing. Maybe he's right in certain aspects. Maybe he's not right. But we have to go by what we see and what we have experienced. In 15 years, no aeroplane has fallen off the sky. So to say that Boeing has made a mistake, to say that engineering has made a mistake, to say that the pilot has made a mistake, it's all speculation.
All right, we leave it there. But thank you very much, Captain Rakesh Rai, for taking out time to speak with us and helping us understand what could have possibly gone wrong. Of course, we will like to wait for the investigation to get over. But thank you very much, Captain Rai, for joining us here on Times Now this evening.
Thank you. Jai Hind.